I took a fire lookout job for the summer. Something tried to climb the tower. I took the fire lookout job because I wanted isolation. After a bad year, silence sounded like therapy. The tower stood alone in the middle of National Forest, a 100-foot steel structure rising above miles of pine. No roads nearby, no cabins, no hikers after dark, just trees and wind. They gave me a radio, binoculars, a logbook, and bear spray. Biggest danger out here is boredom, my supervisor told me. The first few nights proved him right, nothing but owls and the occasional coyote. Then on the fourth night, I heard metal, 2:18 a.m. clang. I woke instantly. You learn every sound out there within a few days. Wind, branches, insects. And this wasn't one of them. It came from below the tower. I stepped onto the catwalk with my flashlight and leaned over the railing. The beam reached maybe halfway down the ladder. Nothing. I almost went back inside. Then, clang. One rung lower than where I'd just looked. Something had put weight on the ladder. I grabbed the radio. Dispatch, someone's at my tower. Static. Dispatch, copy. Nothing. The forest was dead quiet, no wind, no insects. That alone felt wrong. Night in the woods is never silent. Then the ladder moved again, not climbing, shaking, like something was pulling on it experimentally. I forced myself to lean out farther and shined the light straight down. For a second, I thought it was a person. Then it shifted. Its arms were too long. It wasn't stepping up the ladder. It was hanging from it, pulling its weight up in jerks, slipping, then trying again. The body stayed low, close to the metal, more like an animal that had never seen a ladder before. My stomach tightened. "Hey!" I shouted. The movement stopped instantly. Then its head tilted upward directly toward the light. The eyes reflected bright white, higher than they should have been. I backed inside and locked the trapdoor. Dispatch, I have some kind of animal attempting to climb the tower. Static. I switched channels. Tower. 7. You up? Nothing. Behind me. Clang. Closer. It was learning. Each movement smoother than the last. Metal vibrated beneath my feet as it gained height. I grabbed the bear spray and stood over the trapdoor. The sound stopped halfway up. For 10 minutes, nothing happened. I started thinking maybe it fell. Then I heard claws scraping the tower supports. Not the ladder anymore. The beams. It was circling the structure, testing it. Something brushed the underside of the cabin floor. Slowly, feeling across the metal, I held perfectly still. The animal sniffed, loud enough I could hear air pulling through a wet nose. Then it pressed upward. The trap door lifted a fraction of an inch. I slammed my boot onto it and shoved the latch tight. The pressure stayed for several seconds, then released. I went to the window. Worst mistake I could have made. My light hit it directly below me on a crossbeam. Not a bear, not a cougar, hairless patches across its back like old scars, front limbs longer than rear ones. The shoulders rolled outward when it moved, wrong for any animal I knew. And it kept looking at the ladder, not me. The ladder, like it understood the purpose, but not the technique. 2:47 a.m., the radio finally cracked. 3. You up? I nearly yelled. Yes, something's climbing my tower. Silence for a moment. Probably a bear. They do that sometimes. This isn't a bear. Pause. Stay inside till daylight. The radio died again. Outside. Clang, clang, clang. Faster now. It had figured out spacing. Each pull brought it higher, without slipping. The tower shook harder. It was coming up correctly. I sprayed bear deterrent down the ladder. A heavy thud followed, then scrambling. For a minute, I thought it worked. Then I heard it again. From the side of the cabin, not below. I turned slowly toward the window. A long arm slid into view over the ledge. It had climbed the outer supports. The head followed. Up close, I could see its eyes weren't glowing, just reflecting, wide and fixed, locked onto the interior space, studying, memorizing. It reached toward the glass and tapped it once, testing. I backed away, grabbing the emergency flare. The tapping came again, harder. Then its other arm hooked the railing. It was pulling itself onto the catwalk. I fired the flare directly into its chest. The red burst lit the entire forest. The animal screamed, a deep animal panic sound, and let go instantly. I heard it crash through branches below, then run, not crashing randomly, running straight, purposefully, away. Morning. Rangers arrived at sunrise. We found prints in the dirt, too long for a coyote, too narrow for a bear. Front and rear paws shaped differently, like it spent more time pulling than walking. Claw marks were carved into the steel supports almost to the top. The ranger didn't say much, but he kept staring up at the tower. Then he asked me one question. Did it ever look confused? I said yes. He nodded slowly. Good thing you scared it off early. I asked why. He didn't answer. I quit that day because animals act on instinct. But that thing, it was practicing, and it almost figured it out.